Welcome in, everyone, to another deep dive. You know we love digging into these training materials, and today we're all about child observation in early childhood education.
Yeah, really getting into how to see kids in the classroom.
Exactly. We've got these excerpts from a training course for educators.
Yeah, it's always fascinating to peek behind the curtain and see what the pros are learning.
Yeah, for sure. And it's not just about, keeping little Johnny from climbing the bookshelves.
Right, it's much deeper than that.
Yeah, we're talking like really meticulously observing and then documenting it all.
All to really support development and understand individual needs and all that.
It's pretty amazing when you think about it, like how much you can learn just from watching.
Yeah, and this is not like some new trend either.
Oh, really?
Think about like the big names, Piaget, Montessori, like those giants.
Oh, yeah.
They built their whole theories on careful observation.
That's so true. Yeah. Okay, but, let's be honest here.
Yeah.
Staying objective when you're dealing with these tiny humans,
Yeah.
it can't be easy. It's hard.
No, I mean, those adorable little smiles.
Of course.
Or the, occasional tantrums, let's be real.
Yeah.
That's got to cloud your judgment at least a little.
Well, think about a time that you've witnessed a child have like a breakthrough moment.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe they finally like mastered building a block tower or something,
Right.
or figure out how to share a toy or something.
Mm-hmm.
That's what anecdotal records are all about.
Oh.
Capturing those significant events.
Yeah.
It's like snapshots of development in action.
Oh, that's interesting. So it's kind of like a highlight reel
Right.
of all those like aha moments.
Yes.
I could see how that would be super valuable for teachers.
It is very valuable.
Yeah.
But it can also be incomplete.
Okay.
Just like a highlight reel.
Yeah.
If you're trying to really understand a child's behavior
Right.
based on just those few snippets.
Yeah, you're going to miss stuff.
Yeah, you're going to miss important context and those nuances and all of that.
Nothing. So that's why it's crucial to be super descriptive in your notes.
Okay.
You have to stick to those facts
Yeah,
and avoid judgment words.
gotcha. So leave the psychoanalysis for later.
Exactly.
Right, get that raw data first.
Capture the behavior first.
Okay, now on the flip side of that, we have these running records, which
Yeah.
sound a lot more intense.
They are a bit more intensive.
Yeah, it's like that play-by-play commentary of every little thing.
That's a great analogy.
Right, so it's a very detailed account,
Yes, very detailed.
minute by minute, of
Uh.
everything the child does and says.
During a very specific time frame.
Wow, okay, so when would a teacher use this method?
It's kind of like when you zoom in on a specific area on a map.
Oh, okay.
You need a really in-depth look
Yeah.
at a particular behavior.
Mm.
Maybe they're having trouble with social interactions,
Mm.
or maybe they're exhibiting some challenging behaviors.
Gotcha, so you wouldn't do this for, like, every kid in the class?
Not every day, no.
Okay.
It's much more targeted.
Yeah.
It's almost like a little case study.
Okay, but even with all that detail, there are still, like, pitfalls, right? Like, because if you think about it,
Yeah.
having someone constantly taking notes on everything you do,
It would change your behavior.
it would. Yeah,
Mhm.
you'd probably act differently.
Yeah.
So, like, the observer's presence is going to influence the behavior.
A little bit, yeah.
That's wild.
That's why you have to be as unobtrusive as possible.
Oh, okay.
You don't want to disrupt that natural flow
Right.
you're trying to capture.
Yay. Makes sense.
So it's all about planning carefully.
So we've got those anecdotal records, those highlights, and then we've got the running records, which are like that really deep dive into a specific behavior.
Exactly.
But what about those times when educators need to track specific skills or behaviors across a group of children, or maybe even over a longer period of time? It seems like those other methods, those narrative methods, would be way too time consuming.
You are absolutely right.
Right.
And that's where checklists and rating scales come in. They bring a little more objectivity and standardization to the process.
Gotcha. So less about writing the story and more about like checking boxes.
Yeah, it's more quantifiable,
Oh.
assigning values to those specific skills or behaviors.
So checklists are like those packing lists you use to make sure you don't forget anything.
That's a great analogy.
And rating scales are like those star ratings you see online.
Uh-huh.
Give you a quick snapshot.
Yeah, exactly.
Love those analogies. So checklists are great for those essential skills.
Right, those quick checks. Can they use scissors? Can they recognize colors?
Uh-huh.
Things like that.
And then the rating scales take things a step further.
Right. It's not just can they do it,
Yeah.
but how well are they doing it?
Okay, so like instead of pass or fail, you've got different levels of proficiency.
Exactly.
Okay. I can see how that's helpful for tracking progress.
Yeah, and communicating with families and administrators.
Yeah, makes sense.
But remember, development is not linear.
Oh, that's a good point.
Every child is on their own journey.
Right.
And these tools are meant to support that journey,
Yeah.
not to label or limit them.
That's huge.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't want to create those self-fulfilling prophecies
Exactly.
where kids start believing that they're behind just because they haven't checked off all the boxes.
That's right.
Right.
It's about celebrating the progress
Yeah.
and recognizing that those variations in development are not only normal,
Right.
but they're actually a testament to the uniqueness of each child.
That's a beautiful way to put it. This is making me think about those like growth charts.
Oh, yeah.
You know, they track height and weight.
Right.
My kids were all over the place on those charts.
Uh-huh.
It used to stress me out, but it really does just show how different each child's path can be.
Exactly.
We can't expect them to all fit neatly into these predetermined boxes.
No, and that's why we have these tools.
Right?
They're guides, not rigid mandates.
Yeah.
They give us valuable information,
Yeah.
but it's up to us to interpret that,
Right.
and use it in the context of the whole child.
The whole child. Yeah, their strengths, their challenges, their own unique journey.
Exactly.
This has been so insightful. I'm already starting to see child observation in a whole new light.
I'm glad.
It's not just about gathering data.
No.
It's about understanding each child as an individual,
Absolutely.
celebrating their progress, supporting their growth,
Yeah.
and really personalizing it.
That's the heart of it.
Yeah, and making it meaningful.
Yeah, it's about seeing each child as this fascinating and complex individual
Right.
who's worthy of our attention and support.
Well, on that note, let's take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll delve into how to design or select those appropriate checklists and rating scales, and we'll get into some practical tips for making the whole observation process more manageable and efficient. So stay tuned.
Sounds good.
Okay, so these checklists and rating scales, they sound a lot less free-form than those narrative methods.
Yeah, they are.
How do you even make sure you're choosing the right ones?
It's like any tool.
Yeah.
Got to pick the right tool for the job.
Right, you wouldn't use a hammer to screw in a light bulb.
Exactly.
Makes sense.
So they need to align with your goals
Okay.
and with the child's developmental stage.
So like a checklist for toddler motor skills.
Right.
Wouldn't work for kindergarten reading levels.
Exactly.
Okay, that makes sense. But what about the actual design of these tools? Any tips for making them user-friendly?
Well, you got to think about it.
Yeah.
Imagine a teacher in the middle of a chaotic classroom
Right.
trying to decipher some complicated checklist.
Oh, yeah. That's not a good picture.
Not ideal.
Yeah.
So keep it simple.
Simple language.
Okay.
Focus on those observable behaviors
Uh-huh.
and break things down into manageable steps.
Okay, so kind of like a good recipe.
Exactly.
Clear instructions, you get a much better outcome.
Much better outcome, yes.
But even with those simple tools, you've still got the human element right.
Right.
Teachers are going to interpret things differently. Potential biases.
Well, you're hitting on a really crucial point.
Just because a tool seems objective, doesn't mean that we suddenly forget about ethics.
That's true, yeah.
A low score on a checklist
Right,
doesn't mean a child is behind.
right. Right. They develop at their own pace.
Exactly.
Okay, it's a good reminder that behind all those data points, there's a real child.
There is with a story.
Yeah, with their own unique story.
Yeah.
Speaking of stories you mentioned before, the importance of combining that qualitative and quantitative data, the story and the numbers, why is that combo so powerful?
Well, think about this.
Yeah.
You see a child's score on expressive vocabulary.
Okay.
It's lower than expected.
Right.
If you only look at that number,
Uh-huh.
you might assume they're struggling.
Yeah.
But then you read your anecdotal notes
Right.
and you realize they're super chatty during pretend play.
Oh, okay.
Suddenly, you've got a much richer understanding.
Oh, I see. I see.
It's like reading the book review versus reading the whole book.
Yeah, you get the gist from the review. But the book gives you the full picture.
It gives you that depth.
Yeah, but with all this data notes, checklists, scores, it can feel kind of overwhelming.
It can.
How do you keep it all organized?
Organization is key.
Yeah.
It's like having a tidy kitchen.
Uh-huh.
Everything runs smoother.
Yeah.
Simple strategies can make a big difference.
Like what?
Color-coded folders for each child.
Oh, yeah.
Spreadsheets for tracking progress. Even dedicated notebooks for different methods.
Oh, I like that analogy, that really organized pantry
Right.
where everything has its place.
Uh-huh.
Okay. And, I've heard that technology can be a lifesaver.
It can.
So tell me about these observation apps that everybody's talking about.
It's like having a virtual assistant for observation.
Oh, wow.
You can take photos and videos, document those milestones,
Yeah.
share them securely with parents.
Okay.
And some even have built-in checklists and rating scales.
Oh, wow. So it's like a digital portfolio.
It is.
Okay, sign me up. But how do you choose the right app? I mean, there are so many out there.
It is like a kid in a candy store.
It is.
But first and foremost, you have to think safety and privacy.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Any app you choose has to comply with those data protection regulations.
Right, you wouldn't share a child's personal info with just anyone.
Absolutely not.
No, digital security is crucial.
Yes.
But beyond that, what else should we be looking for?
User friendliness is key.
Okay.
You don't want to be wrestling with a complicated app
Right.
when you're trying to observe.
Yeah, nobody's got time for that.
Look for intuitive interfaces, good customer support,
Okay.
and consider customization.
Right. Can you tailor it
Can you tailor it to your program?
to your specific goal?
So your frameworks, yeah.
It's like finding clothes that fit just right.
Yes.
You wouldn't wear a size too small, and you wouldn't wear something that's totally not your style.
Exactly.
And the app needs to be able to deliver the goods.
Yes.
Right.
Think about those reporting features. Can it generate reports that are easy to understand?
Uh-huh.
Can you track progress and spot trends?
Yeah, that all makes sense.
So technology can be amazing,
Yeah.
but it's still a tool.
It's a tool. It doesn't replace the human skill of observation.
That's right.
Right.
It helps us gather and organize the data,
Yeah.
but it's up to us to interpret it.
Right. Connect the dots.
Connect those dots. Yeah.
And then actually use it
To benefit the child.
to make a difference in the child's life.
That's right.
This is where it gets really interesting because all this data is only useful if we actually use it to improve our practice.
Right.
And the training materials talk about a cycle of inquiry,
Yes.
which sounds kind of fancy,
A little bit.
but it's really just about using what you learn to make things better.
Exactly.
So can you walk us through how that works in practice?
Absolutely. So think about it like this.
Okay.
You've observed a child. You've collected your data.
Uh-huh.
Now it's time to put on your detective hat.
Okay, I like it.
The cycle starts with reflection.
Okay.
Stepping back, asking yourself, what does this data tell me?
Okay.
What are those patterns that triggers the potential needs?
So you're turning those observations into insights,
You
like connecting the dots to see the bigger picture.
Exactly. And then that leads to interpretation.
Okay.
You're analyzing those insights,
Right.
thinking about the child's individual context,
Mm-hmm.
and formulating hypotheses.
Okay.
Why might they be struggling with sharing?
Oh, yeah.
What could be causing those tantrums during transitions?
This is where the aha moments happen.
This is where it gets good.
You start to understand the why behind the behavior,
That's right.
and then that understanding leads to planning.
Yes, it does.
How can you actually adjust your teaching, your environment, or your interactions to better support this child?
Exactly.
So maybe you introduce new materials, try a different approach to discipline.
Right. Or collaborate with the family.
Yeah, work together, come up with a plan.
Find a consistent strategy.
I love that. Observation isn't just about collecting data.
It's not.
It's about making a real difference in a child's life.
It is.
And speaking of families, the training really emphasized how important it is to get them involved.
They are crucial.
Right?
They are the experts on their children.
Yeah, they are. Parents see a whole other side of their kid.
You do.
All those little quirks and routines and fears and dreams.
All those details that make them who they are.
And when you can tap into that knowledge as an educator, it can just totally change your understanding.
It really can. It fills in those missing pieces.
Yeah, it's like adding those missing pieces to the puzzle.
Yes,
Suddenly you're seeing the child in a much more holistic light.
that's right.
You understand their behaviors better,
Mm-hmm.
and you're able to actually support their needs.
Absolutely. So it's two-way dialogue.
Right. It's not just teachers telling parents what they've observed.
No, it's a partnership.
What are some tips for creating that kind of collaborative relationship with families?
Open communication is key.
Okay.
Be upfront with parents
Right.
about how and why you're observing.
Yeah. Explain the methods.
Explain the methods, the type of data, and how you use it.
Yeah, that transparency builds trust.
It does.
So you're inviting parents into the process.
Yes, you are.
Okay. And once they're in the loop, how do you make sure that dialogue is actually two-way?
Active listening.
Oh, that's a good one.
Don't just focus on delivering your observations.
Mm-hmm.
Create a partnership.
So instead of just giving parents a report card, you're actually having a conversation.
That's right.
And I know technology can be really great for facilitating these conversations too.
It can.
What are your thoughts on that?
Well, those apps and platforms can be a bridge for busy parents.
Okay.
Keep them in the loop,
Yeah.
share photos, videos securely.
Dim a window into the classroom.
Exactly.
Okay.
But remember, technology can't replace face-to-face communication,
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah.
especially for those sensitive topics.
Right. Or building those deeper relationships. Okay, so open communication, active listening, and using technology strategically.
Yes.
But what about those times when observations reveal something a little concerning?
Mm-hmm.
How do you navigate those conversations with parents in a way that's both honest but also sensitive?
Those conversations can be tough,
They can. Yeah.
but honesty and empathy are essential.
Okay.
Start by focusing on the child's strengths,
Okay.
and then share your observations.
Hmm.
Use factual language.
Okay.
Avoid judgments.
So, for example, instead of saying, your child is aggressive,
Right.
you might say, I've noticed your child hitting others 3 times this week.
That's a much better way to phrase it.
Yeah, it's sticking to the facts
It is.
and avoiding those labels that can be hurtful.
Yes.
And once you've shared your observations, how do you involve the parents in finding solutions?
Invite their perspective.
Oh, way.
Ask if they've noticed similar behaviors at home,
Mhm.
and listen to their concerns.
Great.
Brainstorm solutions together.
Gotcha.
Approach it as a team.
Yeah, you're all on the same side.
Exactly. You're working together to support the child.
This makes me think about how sometimes just getting parents involved can be a challenge. Busy schedules, different cultural norms, language barriers.
There are a lot of barriers.
Yeah, these can all be obstacles.
They are.
So how can educators make family engagement more accessible and inclusive?
Well, first of all, cultural sensitivity is crucial.
Okay.
Families from different backgrounds
Oh, great.
might have different norms around communication or involvement.
Right, so it's about meeting families where they are.
It is.
Okay.
Flexibility is key.
Yeah, like offering different meeting times.
Yeah, or using technology for virtual check-ins.
Huh.
Provide translated materials.
Okay.
Even consider home visits,
Wow, okay.
for families that can't come to the school.
So it's about really making that engagement as seamless as possible.
Exactly.
This has been such a valuable discussion. It's clear that family engagement isn't just a box to check. It's about building those relationships
Building that trust.
and working together to support every child.
That's what it's all about.
But now let's tackle another challenge.
Okay.
Fitting observation into an already packed schedule.
I hear you.
Right. I mean, teachers are busy,
They are.
so how do you make it work?
Well, good news is observation doesn't have to be this huge, separate task.
Okay.
With a little planning and creativity,
Yeah.
it can become a natural part of your day.
So instead of squeezing it in,
Right.
you're designing your schedule and environment to support it.
Exactly.
I like that. Okay. Tell me more.
Think about creating an observation-friendly environment.
Okay.
A classroom designed so you can observe naturally
Uh-huh. Without interrupting their play?
without interrupting their play.
Okay, so it's about setting the stage
Yes.
for observation to happen organically.
That's a great way to put it.
So, like, what are some specific things teachers can do?
Use low shelves or dividers.
Okay.
Create clear sight lines.
Makes sense.
Define different activity areas.
Yeah.
You could even incorporate quiet corners.
Oh, that's a good idea.
So a well-organized environment helps children settle in.
Right.
Makes observation much easier.
It's like creating that flow state
Yeah.
where both the kids and the teachers can thrive.
That's right.
But even in a well-designed space, finding the time can still be a challenge.
It can.
Right. So how do you make it work when you're already juggling a million things?
Integrate it into those existing routines.
Okay.
Look for those natural windows of opportunity.
So be strategic, multitask.
Multitask, exactly.
Okay, I like it.
Think about free play.
Oh, yeah.
Kids are naturally interacting,
Uh-huh.
giving you tons of data
Right.
without you needing to structure anything.
Free play is like a little social experiment for kids.
It is.
Okay, what else?
Transitions.
Transition.
Okay. Those moments when they move between activities,
Uh-huh.
they clean up,
Yeah.
get ready for lunch.
Okay.
It can reveal a lot about their self-regulation,
Oh.
their ability to follow directions.
So those transitions are like little mini tests
They are.
of those executive function skills.
Yeah.
Okay, so free play, transitions, any other prime observation times hidden in the day?
Snack time.
Snack time. Oh, yeah.
Hold mine.
What can you observe during snack time?
How they interact,
Mm-hmm.
handle spills, use their fine motor skills with utensils.
Oh, yeah, it's like a hidden curriculum and table manners.
Exactly.
And self-help skills.
Yes.
What about outdoor time?
Oh, the playground is amazing.
The playground is the best.
For gross motor skills,
Uh-huh.
social dynamics,
Mm-hmm.
risk-taking, problem-solving.
Yeah. I love watching kids on the playground. Their imaginations just run wild.
It's a great reminder that observation doesn't have to be during structured activities.
Right, it can happen anywhere.
Anywhere.
You could be on a walk to the library, waiting in line, even when a child's just engrossed in a book.
Right, you just have to be present.
Be present,
Pay
yeah,
attention
to those little moments.
to those little moments, yeah.
It's like becoming a detective of child development,
You are
always looking for clues.
always looking for clues.
Okay, so the more you practice, the more it becomes second nature.
It does.
But even if you've mastered the art of sneaking observation into your day,
Mm-hmm.
there's still the issue of managing all that data.
Right.
I'm imagining stacks of notebooks and sticky notes everywhere.
It can be overwhelming.
So how do you stay organized?
Establish a consistent system,
Okay.
label and store your records.
So it's like creating a filing system.
Exactly like a filing system for your data.
I like it.
Use color-coded folders, spreadsheets,
Mm-hmm.
dedicated notebooks.
So everything has its place.
Everything has its place, yes.
Just like a well-organized pantry,
Right.
you don't let the dishes pile up.
Don't let the data pile up.
Okay, so set aside time each week
Yes.
for data entry and analysis.
That's right.
Could be during planning time after school,
Whenever you can fit it in.
even just 15 minutes before the day starts.
It all adds up.
The key is to make it a routine.
Make it a routine so it doesn't get overwhelming.
Consistent small efforts are easier than one massive cleanup.
They are.
Speaking of making things easier, let's talk about those tech tools again.
Hmm.
Those observation apps really seem like they could be lifesavers for organization and efficiency.
They can be.
So give us the lowdown. How do they work? What should we be looking for?
They can be amazing for documentation, communication, organization.
Okay.
You can take photos and videos,
Yeah.
capture those milestones, aha moments,
Right.
and then share them with parents.
Securely.
Yeah.
So it's like a digital scrapbook
It is.
or a portfolio for each child.
Exactly.
And some apps even go further.
They do?
They have built-in checklists, rating scales, even time sampling tools.
That's right.
Wow, that saves a ton of time and effort.
It does.
It's like having a whole suite of observation tools
Right at your fingertips.
right in your pocket.
Right in your pocket.
But with so many apps out there, how do you choose?
Well, you've got to consider security and privacy first.
Oh, yeah, of course.
The app has to comply with those data protection regulations.
Right.
You're not going to share that information with just anyone.
Absolutely not. Digital security is non-negotiable.
It is not.
But beyond that, what else?
Think about user friendliness.
Okay.
You don't want to spend time wrestling with a complicated interface.
Right.
Look for those intuitive apps that have good customer support.
Okay.
And think about customization.
Right. Can you tailor it
Can you tailor it to your program's goals?
to your assessment framework?
Exactly.
So it's like finding the right fit.
It is.
Like a good pair of shoes.
Like so.
Too small, they pinch too big.
Yeah, right.
And of course, the app needs to be able to deliver the goods.
It does.
Right? So think about those reporting and analytics features.
Yes.
Can it generate reports that are easy to understand and share?
Easy to share and understand.
Can you track progress and spot trends?
That's what you need.
Okay, so technology can really revolutionize observation,
It can.
but it's still a tool.
It is a tool.
Right.
It helps us gather and organize all that data.
Yeah.
But it's still up to us to interpret it.
Connect the dots.
Connect the dots.
And use those insights to actually benefit the child.
Absolutely.
Okay, we've covered so much today.
We have.
From choosing those methods to engaging families to streamlining all that data organization.
We've been busy.
But there's one crucial aspect we haven't really touched on yet,
Okay.
that human element,
Right.
the role of the observer
Mm-hmm.
and their ongoing professional growth.
Very important.
I think that's a perfect segue into our final segment.
I agree.
Wouldn't you say?
I would.
Okay, so we've covered a ton of ground on like the how-to of observation, the methods, the tools, the family partnerships.
Mm-hmm.
But before we wrap up, I want to go back to something you mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
That idea that observation can shape how a child sees themselves. I mean, that's powerful stuff.
It really is.
We talk about the benefits for educators,
Yeah.
but what about for the kids? Like, imagine a child who's struggling with a puzzle,
Mm-hmm.
and because you've been watching carefully,
Right.
you know when to offer that guidance.
A little nudge.
Yeah, not to solve it for them, but to help them get there on their own.
Almost
Like being that coach on the sidelines who sees their potential
Yeah.
and knows when to offer encouragement or a new strategy.
I see.
It's not about doing the work for them.
No.
It's about empowering them to do it themselves.
He is.
And when a child experiences that kind of success,
Mhm.
it builds their confidence.
That self-efficacy.
Yeah, their belief in themselves.
Yes.
They start to see themselves as capable learners.
Which can totally change their attitude
Yeah.
toward challenges.
It makes me think about those nature documentaries.
Oh, yeah.
You see a baby bird learning to fly.
Right.
The parent bird is there watching closely,
Mm.
ready to swoop in if needed, but mostly just letting them figure it out.
Letting them experiment.
Yeah, it's about providing that safe space.
A safe space to make mistakes.
And ultimately to soar.
To soar, yes.
I love that analogy. Observation lets us be those supportive parent birds.
Oh, you are.
We recognize that sometimes the best way to help is to simply observe,
Right.
understand, and then offer that guidance that empowers.
Empowers rather than rescues.
This has been such a thought-provoking deep dive.
It has.
I feel like I've gained a deeper understanding of child observation,
I'm glad.
but also just a renewed appreciation for the power of observing.
Of really seeing.
Truly seeing and understanding the people in our care,
It's a valuable skill.
whether it's children or adults.
It applies to everyone.
Well, on that note, we're going to wrap up this episode of The Deep Dive.
Okay.
Huge thank you to you, our expert guide, for sharing your wisdom with us.
My pleasure.
I know our listeners are going to be buzzing with new insights and strategy.
I hope so.
And to you, our amazing listeners, thank you for joining us on this exploration.
Thanks for listening.
We hope you've gained valuable insights and some practical strategies for making observation a more meaningful part of your work with children.
Yes,
Remember, the power to truly see and understand a child is a gift,
it is.
both for the child and for you, the observer.
That's right.
So keep observing, keep learning, and keep believing in that incredible potential within each and every child.